Hello, welcome to Crypto News. Today is July 15th, 2025, and the top cryptocurrency news is as follows. We move on to Germany, which seems to have made one of the worst financial mistakes of the decade. As we know from Crypto News, it sold its seized Bitcoin, which had 50,000 BTC, in July 2024 for just $3.13 billion. While at today's Bitcoin prices, those Bitcoins are worth $6.64 billion. And let's say Bitcoin hasn't stopped rising, so the mistake could be much bigger. From Germany, we move on to Bhutan, where Bhutan is DCAing out, apparently. It has transferred $74 million worth of Bitcoin it holds on Binance. As you can see, every 1 to 2 days, it sends a percentage to Binance, so we can say that it is DCAing out during this period. And from Bhutan, let's go to Kazakhstan, where it does not plan to DCA out. However, Kazakhstan seems to be considering the possibility of investing national capital, such as in gold and foreign exchange, in cryptocurrencies, as stated by the head of the country's national bank. And when we say cryptocurrencies, we mean Bitcoin. Now, from our countries, it's time to go to our companies, where everyone is buying cryptocurrencies. Let's start with Strategy, which bought $472 million worth of Bitcoin. It bought 4,225 BTC, and its total Bitcoin holdings have exceeded 600,000 BTC. And guess who is theoretically its largest shareholder? Vanguard, a firm that manages more than $10 trillion in assets, is well known in our circles for not liking Bitcoin. It hasn't issued its own ETF and doesn't allow its clients to access other Bitcoin ETFs because Bitcoin is so bad. However, according to Bloomberg, Vanguard now owns 20 million shares of Strategy, or more than 8% of the company, making Vanguard the largest shareholder in Strategy. So we're not investing and not letting people get into Bitcoin, but buying into the frenzy of a company that only does Bitcoin. Moving on to other companies, we go to SharpLink Gaming, which bought Ethereum and worth $49 million when the price rose above $3,000. BitMine also bought Ethereum, and we learned that it bought 163,000 Ethereum at the time. And from BitMine, a final update on our stocks comes from ARK Invest. We learned that it sold $8.64 million worth of Coinbase shares, as Coinbase has now reached an all-time high of $395 per share. Now it's time to move on to our coins. Let's move on to the Pump account, which debuted with $34 million in trading volume in the first 3 hours. I won't show you a chart because the coin is not even 2 days old. From Pump, we move on to Ondo Finance, which we learned has acquired Strangelove, a blockchain development company. We know from Crypto News that Ondo Finance wants to create its own blockchain exclusively for real-world assets. So this purchase was made for exactly that reason. And for our final piece of the day, let's move on to Mr. Trump's meme coin. We know that in 3 days, on July 18th, it will make one of the largest unlocks in its history, unlocking up to 45% of its supply. Keep in mind that this amount is worth $959 million. 5 times the average monthly unlock, so those of you who own such coins will definitely be inflated. And it's time to go to our favorite cryptocurrency market, where Bitcoin is at $117,000. The price is a little red with no specific news at the moment. Let me tell you that today, the 15th of the month, the core CPI will be released on an annual basis for the US population, well, in very simple terms. So today is a very important day and can shake the markets depending on the number that comes out. The previous number was 2.8% for the US population. Now it is expected to reach 3%. We are waiting for the result. And for the latest news of the day, let me tell you that at the current price of Bitcoin, Mr. Satoshi Nakamoto is officially the 11th richest person in the world, with a fortune of over $131 billion. That wraps up the top news for crypto today, July 15th, 2025. I'd like to remind you that the content you just watched is created for educational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice, but rather as investment opinion. Please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and feel free to comment. Take care, everyone, and have a good day.